Welcome, everyone, to my podcast or my video. This is my very first video. A little bit about me. My name is Glammy Lammy. I like commentary. I want to start videos that just start discussions, not something that's going to tear somebody down, or I'm not here to say that I'm better than anybody or that I'm the moral high ground of everything. It's just that I have a lot of opinions about things and I like to share my opinions. So here we go. The first thing I wanted to talk about is I know that Trish Paytas had come out with a video today talking about the uh, the Colleen Ballinger situation. And some people were saying that her video wasn't enough of a statement, and how could she say, I don't condone this behavior when she hasn't agreed or when she hasn't said sorry to the communities that she hurt or whatever. I think this video was fine. We'll go over it in a minute, but I actually think that she did. She stood up for the minors. She didn't. People were saying that she sounded like a victim here, where I don't think so. I think she seemed very hurt. The fact that she was talking pretty slowly too kind of showed that she was just really hurt, and it sounded like she was her authentic self. Um, okay, so let's just get into it.
To respond to everything said about me on the internet, because at the end of the day it just gets really exhausting. And then of course, being in other people's business, even if I have strong opinions about it, I really decided years ago that it wasn't good for my mental health. Personality disorder, which is hard to regulate my emotions. I get triggered very easily.
Okay, now right there, I'm really glad that she has stayed out of trouble. So far, she hasn't really spoken out too much about drama and stuff, and she's been kind of under the radar since she's been a mom and stuff, and I really do appreciate that. Um, I I really do appreciate the fact that she's been staying out of trouble since she was a mom and stopped jumping down people's throats for no reason, and coming up with all kinds of communities to offend just out of nowhere. Okay.
So I've learned to deal with triggers the past few years, and I feel like I've done a very good job managing and regulating emotional stability. Um, and on top, aside from all that, just being known as the person who's just always in drama and can't keep friendships, it's not a good look. I've worked really hard the past couple of years to kind of just stay in my own lane and not engage in anything online, um, which is commonly referred to as drama.
Which I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I'm glad she's, and like I said, I'm glad that she's been staying out of trouble. And I was hoping for her that she would grow. I really was. I think that she's got her issues for sure, like she was saying about her mental health and stuff like that. And I can see her being triggered pretty easily because we've seen her many times on the kitchen floor or whatever else, just kind of falling apart. And I appreciate the fact that she's trying to stay silent on things that don't either involve her or just that she doesn't necessarily need to speak on,
I feel like this is beyond drama. I'm
which
putting
is
my own
true.
hurt feelings aside, and my feelings are very hurt. I've had like a sick to my stomach feeling for a while now, and today especially. Um, Me and Colleen started a podcast this year, 3 episodes. We were always friendly before. I think it shocked a lot of people because, like, oh, I didn't know they were close friends like that. And the thing is um, we weren't close friends. We were friends. I considered us to be friendly. When I had my daughter, she reached out, and I thought, oh, it's great to have mom friends and, you know, friends, who have kids. So,
Okay, by there, I think she means, from what I take of the situation, it sounded like they weren't friends before, but seeing as after she had her kid, they talked that Colleen had talked to her and reached out to her, and then from the reaching out after she had her child, then she was thinking, okay, it would be nice to have other friends that are moms, and that was my take of the situation. I could be wrong though, but that's what I took from that.
I thought this podcast would be great because we always got along really great when we would see each other. Um, we've been doing videos together on and off, like maybe once a year since 2018, and and so I just thought, well, this is a good podcast to get to know each other. It's a good, little thing for me to do because I haven't really done anything for a couple of years, and I really enjoy being creative and producing stuff. And it was kind of fun to do costumes and stuff. Um, I wasn't aware of these most recent things that are coming out. Everyone knows I have a very, very, very firm stance on talking to anyone underage, platonic or not. I've always been very, very firm with this, that I think it's inappropriate.
See, I agree with that because there has been multiple times that she's come out. She took a very huge stance when Tana Mojo was talking with her ex, which her ex is escaping. His name is escaping me right now, but the she had talked about some of Jason Nash. She was talking about how she didn't approve of how he would talk to her and treat her and things. Now, granted, it's Trisha Paytas, so I don't know how much of everything was completely true, but from what it sounded like from jump, she's been very vocal about talking how inappropriate it was for Jason Nash to act the way he did with Tana Mojo, and also she's been very outspoken about James Charles as well. Um, there again, some of that's kind of dicey because we don't know what's the truth and what's not the truth on all of that. As far as what she knows, I mean, obviously, the stuff that had come out about James has been out, and you know, he's shady in general. But it that makes sense that she's spoken out very highly about inappropriate conversations with minors.
Um, I've been known to talk about many occasions where someone is just 17 years old and I don't feel comfortable with them, you know, being around them, hanging out with them. I remember one time there was a very popular YouTuber who was 17, and another YouTuber I was friends with wanted to bring her to my apartment. I said, absolutely not. I'm like, she has to just stay in the car. Like, I just,
See, that's just funny though. Shoot, I'm not sure how much I put weight on that though. Like, can you just imagine like somebody would be like, somebody comes over and be like, oh yeah, she's got to wait in the car. Like, depending on how long that person's gonna stay and hang out, uh, and Trisha Paytas can talk. Like, I don't know, they're gonna have like an hour long conversation or something. This poor person's in the car. I don't know, but maybe.
I have a lot of trauma when it comes to my relationships I had when I was underage, and not always sexual. A lot of my trauma comes from school, um, authorities at school, teachers at school that I trusted. Um, and sorry, this is like hard for me to make. I'm really trying to. And I
Yeah, it does seem like it's hard for her to talk about, and I feel bad about that part. And she definitely seems triggered, and that part's just really sad. And I'm sorry for that.
and I don't. It's a very hard but like boundary. Like it's one that I don't let up on with anybody. I think it's I think it's weird. I've talked about it multiple times. I think it's weird. So when all this came out, I was shocked. The group chats and stuff. I was kind of shocked, and it's such a difficult thing because Colleen is someone that I quickly literally in the past month that we did this podcast, like I really, really like cared about and really like related to. I thought, well, she told me she'd get canceled here and there, and she kind of understood when people would come for her for working with me, because I've done stuff in my past that's you know not not cool by today's standards, and I think I think everyone can take accountability and grow. Like I really do think people can like change and change their ways.
See, and that's the part too, is where she said um, that she's done things that by today's standards weren't cool. And I know that a lot of people were saying that they wanted her to take accountability for everything she's done. And I think if you look at all of her videos collectively, now I'm not saying I'm like a huge Trish Paytas stan or whatever, and I'm not saying she's spiffy purple, and I'm not saying that like, she's like, on the she's, the most amazing person ever. But I think in her own way, I think she has come out and apologized for these things. Was it a perfect apology? No. But I think in a certain aspect, she has kind of come out and said, hey, when the whole Ethan Klein thing came out, or I think that's his last name, right? Ethan Klein. When he came out and everything after they had split up from their podcast and stuff, that she was talking about, she's like, oh, I know I've done some bad things. I really apologize for everybody. She didn't go down point by point like some people want her to do. But I think to her and to how her standards and the way that she's looking at it, I think that's kind of her way of addressing it. It's not perfect, but it's something. And the fact that she hasn't come out and started, she's been staying quiet on a lot of different things. It's a start. It's a start. It's not an exoneration, but it's a start, in my opinion.
And stuff like that. If you can acknowledge it. Her video came out, and I was just shocked, to say the least, that she didn't at least acknowledge the stuff that her own fans were saying, how they felt, to kind of brush it over in the way she did, and ultimately became like memes, and now it becomes somewhat lighthearted, even though it's not a lighthearted issue. I was shocked, and she sent me the link to her video, her apology video, and I didn't respond back to it because I was shocked. um,
Understandable.
Weeks prior to the apology video, I know we were staying in touch because, again, I know what it feels like to have the whole internet come down on you, even if the whole internet is right. Like, I'm someone, again, who struggles with mental health issues, mental illness, and I know what that can feel like, and I don't want anyone, guilty or not, to ever feel like they don't have someone to talk to, that there's not a way out of a situation, that there's not a way to make a situation right. So I kind of stayed in touch with her, but
that's an interesting statement to make. That she understands whether the internet is right or not, that she wants somebody to come out and have somebody to talk to and stuff. I think that's good. I mean, that's nice that she wants somebody. I'm not sure how I feel about that statement. It kind of shows that she has empathy for people, but I mean, if the internet's right, like this particular situation where it has clearly come out that Colleen has just been, oh my gosh, the stuff that has come out is just gross. I mean, I still, yeah, I could see, I get that. Like, you still want her to be able to have, like, hoping that she has like a therapist or something to talk to. We don't want anybody like wiped off the planet or anything. So yeah, I guess that was supportive.
when I got involved with this, I got dragged into it rather. Um, it was a few weeks ago, and uh, two boys, both, one I believe was 20 at the time, and one who was 14 at the time. Both the 14-year-old's alleged, because I didn't speak on this because I didn't see anything. And I'm not to say that I don't believe this person. It's just a very, very, very serious allegation. It's very illegal. So,
See, and that was what somebody was saying, that she didn't explain, or they wanted to see uh in their videos, they wanted to see the person come out and explain why they hadn't said anything earlier. And she was saying, I think she is saying here, or at least from my take or my point of view, is that she was waiting to see about more things that were coming out. She wasn't entirely sure if it was all, you know, just something people were saying. It took a minute before all the stuff came out. But once it did start coming out, it was coming out in droves and in floods. And I'm sure it took a second for it to process too. Um, there might have even been a moment of, no, this can't be happening. This is the second person that I've, gotten into a podcast with that turned into a problematic situation for her. Um, but I think this video is fine. I think that, she came out, she said her points. She's talking slow. She seems like she's being herself. I appreciate the level headedness.
I was kind of waiting to see what would kind of come out of anything before I had to make this video and this statement. Literally, my accountant, I don't know why she got a text from like a Huffington Post reporter asking for a statement about all this, and I'm like, you know what? Let me just put this out. And I hate putting any energy into this, but it's very, very serious. It's very serious. And it's a topic I don't take lightly and I can't take lightly, as I am a full-time sex worker. I don't think that's a secret. It's not as advertised as it once was, but we already have a lot of stigma, misconceptions, allegations against us as sex workers. And so I need to nip this in the bud, that I do not condone at all unsolicited nudes, sending unsolicited nudes to anyone of anybody, sex worker or not. I think using someone's nudes as a way to hurt them, make fun of them, make light of them, be mean is the lowest form of human, the lowest form of intelligence. I think that's so.
Yeah, it's also considered, isn't that considered revenge porn too, on top of it all? Pretty sure that's considered revenge porn. I'm not entirely 100 about it, but I believe so.
Inhumane. I think that's so disgusting for anyone.
Which is illegal.
Last night, the text messages were shown, and it's very clearly from Collen to a fan. Has over 500,000 views on Twitter, that I'm not embarrassed by. I'm embarrassed for her. I try to take myself out of these equations when I'm feeling triggered, and if I were to look at it as it happening to someone else, I wouldn't be humiliated for the person in the photos. I'd be humiliated for the person who sent them. Although it can be humiliating for the person in the photos as well. And it somewhat is embarrassing. I get made fun of all the time for my body, my nudes, even under this person's posts. While I'm thankful he posted them so I could see that this is real, it's hearing all that horrible stuff underneath the photo, like about my body just being messed up or disgusting, and it's a lot. Yes, I'm a sex worker, and yes, I chose this job, and yes, I make money doing it, but it never feels good to have someone just like make fun of your naked body. It's just a really vulnerable.
Yeah, that's pretty mean. And I think the fact that this isn't the first person that's done that she's already had to go through this with Shane, she already had to go through this with Jeffrey. It just seems to be like every person that she's, or her main friend group, and then that Hair by Jay person too, just seems like the people that she mostly decided to call friends, that was like the main thing they did, was chop her up for her body, which I think is so low. But to have her go through that again because of somebody else doing it too, ugh, it's just so awful. Like, why do that to somebody?
Horrible thing, and it is a little embarrassing if I'm being honest, but I'm more embarrassed for her that this is the kind of person she is. Like I'm so embarrassed sending these.
I'm not entirely sure. I believe that she's more embarrassed for Colleen. I feel like I would, and even like to be honest with you, if it was me, I would be more embarrassed for. Oh, I can't even really say that. I guess no, but like I would feel bad that she's that terrible of a person, but to be embarrassed for knowing that her body was just passed around to minors, no less, like that's nasty. Like that's enough to be more embarrassed. Like that was a choice, you know what I mean? Like that was clearly a choice. She knew better. She was like, Colleen was like 30 something years old. Like, girl, you knew better. Ugh. I think that was a nice statement of Trisha make that she was more embarrassed for Colleen, but that's mad embarrassing to have your pictures being like sent to freaking minors or anybody.
To fans unsolicited, the context of which she was sending these, I don't get the purpose. I don't know if there was an inside joke I'm missing on this. The fan said, hey, congratulations on becoming parents, which a month later she just responds with a nude of me and says, you look so pretty in this. And these weren't a long time ago. This is someone well into their 30s.
Yeah, how sneaky is that too? To come sit next to somebody, eat in their house, like, like sit down at the table with them, chill and hang out. All meanwhile, they're like chopping them up behind their back, saying nasty things. That's awful.
Just gave birth sending nudes. And a month prior, I was in her house meeting her child and doing a mukbang, meeting her newborn and doing a mukbang with her. In these texts, there's also friends of hers. They showed the viewing parties that were talked about to make fun of me. They did viewing parties of my adult content to make fun of me. And there's a friend of hers who I actually met as well back in 2018 with his face posing next to explicit images of me. And there was a video of it, and it's a lot. It's a lot.
I could see that.
Um,
Definitely. The whole thing was a lot.
and it wasn't just one occasion. There was multiple times that she sent just different photos and different positions of me. Um,
That's so gross.
I did ask her
Just like
about these a couple weeks
send
ago
that to
before there
people.
was the proof, so to speak, right? And she assured me that she had never sent photos of me, that this one fan who was underage at the time would send photos to her. She's like, no, he was a fan. He sent photos to me and he was obsessed with you. And he would just send me it. And once in a while, I'd like respond to him and be like, hey, okay. That's what she told me a couple weeks ago. There's a clip of her saying she saw a whale squirt, and she wasn't talking about Trish Paytas.
That's
I sent her
mean.
that as well, and she said everything's taken out of context, like these are lies. And being as I was like her friend and I knew her as a person, I was trusting her, I guess. Because I mean, overall, who do you trust? Like this person you know in real life, or people you don't know anything about? um, I guess that's why that is that whole innocent until proven guilty thing. Um, So there was two options there for her to say like, yeah, that was a while ago. I was a hater. I mean, I'm the first to say like, I've definitely have been a hater in the past. I've been miserable in my own life. I've been going through shit in my own life in the past, and I was miserable and I've hated on people for sure. Not people that I would go and like be at their house and like do a whole podcast with, but sure, I can understand people, gossiping or making fun of people. I don't understand the making fun of bodies. That's weird. It's weird. I don't get those texts at all. Like I look at those and I'm like so confused. Like, okay, I'm the joke. My naked body's the joke, I guess. Okay. I don't know. It's very odd.
It is
But
odd.
I kind of gave her outs because I was like, hey, like, we've talked crap about me. That's fine. We weren't that close back then, I guess. Like, whatever. And she vehemently denied, no, I never sent pictures of you. Like the underage fan would send me pictures of you, not specifying if they were nude or not. The the text came out last night, and my heart started racing.